Ed, I came out to Andy Brown Park today and I noticed there was something missing. Tell me, what has happened?
As you can see behind us, the Kid Country Park has come down as of July 30th, and that's the original park that was here, built in 1992 by the citizens of Coppell, funded and built by the citizens. In fact, we had about, over a week's period, about 7,000 volunteers to come out and help build the first one back in 1992. We've had 20 great years to enjoy it, and it's time to build it again. And once again, we're looking for volunteers, both for the funding and the construction side of it, to help us build the new one here.
So why was the original structure torn down?
Well, the original one that was built in 92 had a 15-year lifespan, and it was 20 years old. So what had happened over some of the later years there is we had to take out some of the components that had just broken or worn out. There was pretty high maintenance costs that went along with maintaining this for that long of a time period. And one of the biggest issues is that the drainage system underneath it had gotten all clogged up. And so it wasn't ideal at all when we'd have large rains. So it was time to replace it.
So there's a new Kid Country coming in, and this is not your pre-packaged playground. Tell me about the process and the input you received to get to where you are today.
Well, once we decided that it was time to replace this one, we started a campaign about a year and a half ago. And the first thing we needed to do was come up with a new design. So we wanted to make sure that we got input from the community as we went forward on the new one. We had a series of design days at the elementary and middle schools here in Coppell, and the high schools got involved as well. But each of the schools had the kids come up with some of the features of a new playground that they'd like to see in there. They put together artwork and posters. We did a judging contest that went along with that as well. And as a result of that, we ended up incorporating a lot of those suggestions into the new park here. We also got some input from some of the parents who have had a lot of hours out here over the years as well with their kids. And there were some features that the parents wanted to incorporate into it as well. So we've put a lot of those into the new one also.
Well, Ed, this is really exciting. Tell us about some of the components that we'll find in the new park.
Well, we've got a lot of new things. First off, what's different about this one is that instead of lumber that we used back in 1992, we're using a manufactured wood product, and it has a 30-year lifespan. So whatever we put up here is going to be here for the next 30 years. The new manufactured wood does not require a lot of maintenance. You can't get splinters on it and things like that, but it still looks like wood, and we can engrave in it and all those kind of things. So that's the number one feature that goes along with this. A couple other things that we got input from the parents on is we've incorporated some fenced-in areas in the new playground. We're going to have a section with a single entrance for infant to 2-year-olds. They'll have their own play components within that. We'll have a separate fenced-in area for 2 to 5-year-old kids, and they'll have a lot of things to play with as well. And then there's a larger area for the older kids. Now the 2 to 5-year-old section will include their own set of swings, so they won't have to be competing with the older kids on trying to get to the swings, the guys that are going real high and things like that. So that's one of the features we've incorporated. We've also put in a lot of new activities and components within the playground. We have some things like climbing rock walls. We have a mirror maze in there. We still kept the old stage from the old playground with a lot of musical instruments around it that the kids can play with. In some of the younger kid areas, like the 2 to 5-year-old, we have a pirate ship that they can climb on. There's a series of old town playhouses that they'll be able to spend a lot of time in there as well. And then in the older kids areas, we've got some really nice new features. We've got a 3-story tree house that's going to be in here. We've got a lot of climbing and activity things that are new to this. There's a central tower in the middle of the playground that parents can stand on and get a pretty good overview of the entire playground to keep a track of where their kids are. And then we've added some new components here recently, like a 19-foot tall spider web climbing structure that's going to be kind of the keystone of this new playground. I'm sure we'll have young kids and old kids and adults, kids at hearts, that'll all be playing on that one as well. And then the other unique feature that we've really added into this is we've commissioned an artist to do a couple of unique pieces for us to really make this distinctive from other playgrounds around the area. So she is sculpting a hippopotamus and a 5-foot tall squirrel that will be part of this. They're climbable structures, and they're going to have mosaic pieces around the outsides of them to make them very artistic looking. Part of the volunteer efforts that we're doing here is that volunteers will be able to help put those mosaic pieces on and help construct the final artistic pieces of this. So we've got some great components in here. We've also got surfacing in the playground that is ADA approved for handicap access to a lot of the swings and other components within the playground. So lots of people at all ages and all capabilities can take advantage of this new one.
What does this effort take? What exactly does the committee need?
Well, there's a few things that we need at this point. As I mentioned early on, this one, like the playground that was originally built in '92, is funded by the community. That means individuals, businesses, and a grant from the city. It's also going to be built by volunteers from the community, so we need a lot of people to come out and help us build this. So there's really three things. The first one, as I mentioned, is the fundraising, the donations. This project has a target donation level of $500,000. At this point, we've raised about $405,000, which is about 81% of our goal. So we've got a very good chunk of it completed, but we still have a ways to go, and we need help to get over the finish line there. So as far as donations go, there's a few ways that people can help out here. If you go onto our website, which is at www.kidcountry2012.com, you'll see everything on there that you need for donations, volunteering, etc. But if you go to the donation tabs on that website, you'll see a few options. One of them is to buy a name stake. So the playground will have wooden stakes that are used to build the components and the fences in here. And for $40, anyone can have their name, their family name, their business name engraved on a stake, and it'll become a permanent part of the fence structures within the playground here. Then beyond that, we have different donation levels where we will be recognizing sponsors going forward. As you may see at the front of the park here, we have a very large sponsor recognition wall from the original 1992 playground. We're going to use that same wall to put our new sponsors on that, and we're going to take the nameplates from the old one and put them on the backside. But anyone who donates $500 or more will have their name on that front wall. And as I mentioned, we expect this park to last 30 years, so your name will be up there a long time. Okay? We are a 501c nonprofit organization, and so any donations that are made towards this playground are tax deductible. So that's the donation side of it. The second piece is volunteers. We need a lot of volunteers. There are three main areas where people can sign up to volunteer. One of them is construction, actually building the new park. The second one is food service for all the helpers that are out there. We're providing food. And the third is child care, so that any of the workers that come out can have their kids staying in the child care while they're working. So for each of those, again, you can go to the website. When you go under the volunteer/tool loaners section, you will see a list of each of the days that we are having this build and 2 pre-build days. The pre-build days are September 24th and 25th. On those days, we'll be drilling the holes for the post, setting the post, pouring the concrete. We do need volunteers for that. We need about 50 each day for that. Then the regular build is scheduled to be October 2nd through the 7th. So those 6 days, we will need a lot of volunteers, probably 200 per day as we're going forward on that. So on the website, when you go into the volunteer section, you'll see those days listed out there, and each day will be split into 3 time slots. So anyone who signs up to volunteer, you can highlight any time slot throughout that. It'll turn green, and that means that you're registering for that time slot. So we encourage people, not only individuals, but if you're part of a church group, a work group, a homeowners association, a sport association, any kind of group, we encourage people to come out with large groups and spend a day helping to build this community activity here. Okay, so that's the volunteer section. The third piece is tool loaners. Again, since this is all funded and built by the community, we count on individuals and corporations to loan us tools that we need during the build week to make this all happen. That can range anywhere from hammers and screwdrivers and wrenches up to power drills, circular saws, table saws, all kinds of things. So again, on the website we have a section for tools. It lists out every tool that we need, how many we need, and individuals or businesses can sign up on the website for what they will donate. Anybody that loans us tools, which is what we're asking for, we will mark them, we'll get them back to you. If they get damaged or lost while we're working on it, we'll replace them for you. So there's lots of opportunities, people of any age, to get involved in helping with this, from kids all the way up to older adults. I will tell you, from having been here for the first one back in '92, we get thousands of people coming out to build this playground and volunteer. That's the kind of turnout we need this time around. This is going to be a huge city event, an opportunity to bond with your neighbors, with your community, and to give something back to the community to help build a new, friendly, safe place for our kids and their parents to come together and meet.